Hey folks, it's Eric from Belgrade Beat, and I wanted to take a look at the comments on my video yesterday, which is the video was about me and Serbian nationalism and what role it plays in my life as a foreigner living in Serbia. So it's been really interesting to read these comments. You know, you're always sort of playing with fire. We, in the Balkans, when you talk about nationalism, what inspired the video was seeing this dude here sitting on the street signing his book yesterday. You know, a guy who's been on trial for war crimes and stuff and whatever. It's like I sort of like was pleasantly surprised by the peacefulness of everything and how I can be some foreigner walking down the street while the nationalist over there is signing his radical ideology books and stuff like that, and it's all just normal and cool and everything in this very peaceful, essentially safe place that is Belgrade, and I think that's great. And so we got 870 views and 62 comments. So almost 1 in 10 people, like there's almost like a comment for every 10 views, that's a lot of feedback. So yeah, I don't always read the comments, but today I'm doing it because, well, they're interesting. Now we've got a couple guys at the top here who are basically saying that the word nationalism is basically patriotism here. And I view them as the same sort of phenomenon. And what I'm trying to distinguish here is positive nationalism, being proud of your country, its traditions, and negative nationalism, meaning like hating other nations that you share borders with, going to war with other countries and all that, and, you know, being racist against foreigners and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, two completely different but very deeply interrelated things. So the definition is a little bit different, but I was talking mostly about the outside world's perception of Serbia and how when I, as a Canadian, tell people in Canada that I live in Serbia, they don't really get it, and they have this sort of stereotype about this place being some sort of nationalist country. I explained this all in the video very, very quite clearly. And right, so we've got BS writing something which, well, he comments a lot. I've never met the guy, but he lives in Canada, I believe. What nationalism? It's basically pride and heritage. I think he's a Balkan guy who lives in Canada, named Boris, if I'm not mistaken. In the US, you'll see American flags on every house. In Canada, they have Canadian content rules. Yeah, but CanCon is protectionism. It's protecting the Canadian media industry. Basically what it is, it's a law that 33% of the songs on the radio need to be Canadian music, basically. That's protectionism, not nationalism. It means that you have to endlessly listen to Celine Dion. It's not fun. Actually, a friend of mine wrote some songs for her, and so now, yeah, he wins in that system. But yeah, CanCon, I wrote back, and it's difficult for us Anglo-Canadians to be nationalists because of the influence of American language and culture being so pervasive to the point of absolute saturation. That was what really bothered me about living in Canada and, quite frankly, being Canadian. You know, it's not the whole of my ethnic identity. It's a big part of it because I grew up there. But that there's no authentic culture that's from there. It's all like a oversaturated, sanitized, filtered version of American culture that you're living, and it's really fake. But the Quebecers can be nationalist because they speak French and they have a different culture and history. So yeah, that was the point there. Right. But the Canadian identity, you know, I'm three things basically. I am, you know, Canadian English speaking, a Canadian English Anglophone Canadian. I am a German, and I am also a Slav. I can explain more later, but those contradictory perspectives make it really hard for me to be nationalist. So here's another comment. Your concept and understanding of nationalism is totally different from ours, right? So again, this comment about chauvinism and all that stuff. here in the Balkan countries is related to patriotism, tradition, culture keeping, and you forgot religion. And even very liberal Serbs who live here in general feel their identity strongly. I feel like even me, after living in this country for many years, I feel the Serbian identity has become a part of me as well. You know, I've got some Slavic roots, and I don't know, I just feel proud to be Belgradian, actually, not Serbia in general, but the city of Belgrade, that I've lived here, been a part of it, made a difference, made this channel, for example, and connected with the people, made videos like the one you see as the most recommended one on the top here, like Why I Love Serbs, made all that stuff. I feel proud about my life here and the interaction that I've got from it. And yeah, liberal Serbs as well, yeah. We love Balkan culture. We love this part of the world. We love everything about this way of life, except for the economic results of this way of life that have been here for the last little while, you know, like, but things are slowly changing. Some say in a good way, some say in a bad way, but I see progress in this country. And you you live here for so long and no one needs to tell you about how Serbs treats their guests and foreigners. And the other thing you also don't need to explain to me is how shitty Serbian people can be to each other. God, you preach them to Srpskom, they think that, you know, if they don't hear the slight accent or whatever, they think that I'm from here, and I get all the local sarcasm and cynicism and criticism and just negativity that you don't see as a foreigner speaking English. You don't see that. So you learn Serbian and then you get into this whole world of negativity, complaining, all this stuff that you're listening to constantly. And then you realize, okay, so there's a filter when Serbs speak English. That's a whole other video that I should make, actually. All right. Coming to the Balkans as a forum, I travel a lot, and what you see in Western democracies shock people, and the names that they call Serbs, and the actual racist perception. It is a racist perception that the West think that Serbs are racist. That is racism, because Serbs are actually less racist, one study has shown, than a lot of countries in Europe, like than all the other countries in Europe, actually, is what the study showed. So basically, yeah, strong opinions about country and culture. Yeah, and so do I, and I'm happy to share these perceptions. You know, I'm very in line with that sort of honest way of telling things, and that's what one of the things I really love about this society is that honesty. And you, in these Western democracies where there's all this free speech and all this stuff, it's like people don't actually say what's on their mind. You can have more free speech when people don't actually choose not to use it. Not that I think that, whatever, like, there's some things you don't want to talk about on a YouTube channel like this. I feel I censor myself a little bit, but this conversation is productive. Yeah, so basically, roots, tradition, and all that stuff. Love it, love it, love it. And I just don't like people who don't like people from other countries. And the cool thing about here is that if somebody's racist, they're going to show you that they're racist. They're going to tell you that they're racist, basically. They're going to tell you that they don't like foreigners or refugees or Chinese people or whatever. And they're wear it on their sleeve. Whereas in Canada, you might never know that somebody actually is, but they won't say it, but they'll act in that way. They'll do harm. So it's better where people are upfront about this stuff, and they're nationalists and they hate foreigners, or they hate foreigners that don't speak Serbian, for example, which is, you know, it's good that I'm a foreigner who speaks Serbian. A lot of people really appreciate that I learned the language. I don't speak it as my main language, but I can pretty damn well speak it enough to actually, you know, communicate understanding. So this guy, yeah, this is an interesting one. Came to Serbia around 3 years ago, have not experienced any toxic collectivism like this, rather the opposite when talking to people. I'm Scandinavian and frankly not proud of that at all. I do not enjoy life in Scandinavia for a ton of reasons that aren't relevant. So I'm guessing this person's reasons are very similar to my reasons why I don't really enjoy living in Canada anymore, right? So yeah, this is I love this type of comment because it's like somebody is on my vibe. I've been met with a lot of friendliness and warmth, despite me actually being an extremely introverted and private individual. Okay, that's very Scandinavian of you. But I also see that people are almost offended by me being here because they don't necessarily want me here, but because they don't view Serbia as true treasure that I do. So yes, that will be a thing where in Europe, there's a lot of, they know the Balkans and they look down on the Balkans. And if you're from Scandinavia and you move to Serbia, your friends and family might be like, what the fuck? And, being from a Austrian sort of background, it's a little different. The way my family reacts to me living in Serbia, they get it because we're from Slovakia. And they get it that I wanted something like that, and that Belgrade's a lot more interesting and a lot less racist than Slovakia, and a lot more open to foreigners. So they get why I live here, but they're happy in Canada for the most part. How can you waste your life in Serbia? That sort of stuff. Yeah. And he says, I don't see any sense in wealth disabling nationalism. Scandinavia is fairly rich, and I guarantee you that's where you'll find extreme nationalism, probably not as pronounced as in your face, but it's deeply rooted in majority. It's not, okay. Wealth won't get rid of nationalism, but it'll get rid of the toxic nationalism. It'll the reason we had World War II and Hitler is because after World War One, the Allies just let Germany be poor, and from all that poverty came the Nazis, right? Because yeah, that's what happened. And after World War II, they did the Marshall Plan and reinvested in Central Europe and rebuilding Europe. And, after that, we've had peace in Germany and Austria. And, after that, they helped the society get back up. And guess what? You don't have as many Nazis anymore. But if the country of Germany was poor today, you probably would have a lot more Nazis in Germany. And by the way, yeah, I am from a German background, so I know this story, what it was like after World War One, after World War II. My family was from Czechoslovakia, German speakers, German cultural identity. We have German names, except for my grandmother. Her name is Vera Dragica, which, like they always said sounded like a Serbian name, even though she was from Slovakia. But, she was born when they thought that Slavic culture was the future and that they should name their children Slavic names. So, yeah. But, yeah. Okay, so nationalism in America, like, watch what's going to happen now. Now that the country just got significantly poorer, like a lot of the people lost their freaking jobs, you're going to see shit happen. So, wealth protects that shit from hitting the fan. Yeah, you have lots of racist idiots, but if the racist idiots have, a bunch of money and jobs and stuff, then you're going to be, they're going to make less problems, let's face it. So why am I talking about Serbian nationalism? It was an idea. I did mention genocide, and I did review how I mentioned in that video, and I don't want to go there any further. That's not a topic that I want to open up on. But what brings me to Belgrade, back in 2005, I became super close friends, or 2003, I can't even remember now. No, it was 05. Super close friends with a Serbian guy named Andre. I'd already been traveling to Europe every year, backpacking around Bratislava, where my family's from, Austria, had been to Slovenia, Croatia. Then I came to Belgrade and discovered this wonderful, vibrant city. A freaking lucky man to be in Serbia. I agree. I agree that I'm a lucky man to have this life in Serbia that I have, because there's so much richness, there's so much flavor and texture and depth to life here that I never had in Canada. The ability to have these conversations, really interesting. To be in a place where people like talking about stuff like this, really interesting. Yeah, next comment. Hey, did you read there's another guy in Toronto living in Belgrade for the next few months? His name is Jordan Peterson. Yeah, I did hear about that. I like him. I think he's an interesting thinker. My mother happened to be the kindergarten teacher for his children when they were growing up, so she knew him. She was like, teaching at the school that was in the neighborhood of the University of Toronto, and so yeah, I understand the world that he's rebelling against, and it's similar to the world that stuff is why I moved to Serbia. The stuff that he talks about, just the political correctness and the sort of erosion of like, I don't know. It's a whole other video that I would make, but I would like to see the guy, but he hasn't done an interview in months. He's dealing with some serious issues. I did see his daughter pass by here on Knez Mihailova a while ago, like a week and a half ago, and that's how I knew that she was here. And then I tried to reach out see if she wanted to come in Belgrade Beat, but I didn't get a response. So if I see him, or if anybody sees Jordan Peterson, tell him he can do an interview on Belgrade Beat with a Torontonian, Belgradian, Canadian named Eric, and yeah, just let him know that I'm here, and I think we would have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. But yeah, maybe he just wants to chill out. But if I see him on the street, I'm definitely going to go and introduce myself. So, yeah. And also, you can criticize Jordan Peterson because he does come across as a pretty angry guy sometimes. And yeah, I'd like to talk about that. Maybe he's working through those issues now. And yeah, there's a whole level of that conversation that I'm not going to have in this video because you guys want to hear about Serbian nationalism. So it appears to be a great and interesting guy looking for answers, figure certain things out. Thank you. Here are a few important facts Serbian people and nation in general you'll eventually figure out if you have not already. Right. So Serbs do not have an inferiority complex towards other Balkan nationalities, and in general, any other nationality except for Americans, Russians, and possibly Germans. So if I'm a German Canadian, do Serbs have a inferiority complex towards me? I would say that in general, the answer would be yes. For a lot of people, they do think that I'm some sort of privileged, higher, life has been easy for me because I don't have to grow up and work in this country. And it's all true. I grew up as an upper middle class guy in Canada from, a family that traces its roots back, yeah, almost to this region in European aristocracy. Partially, that's half of my dad's side of the family, and I'm probably, yeah, and I'm one of the most privileged people on the planet. So anyways, that's not what this was about. So it's about Serbian nation, they're a small nation, but they have a mentality of a big nation. Such mentality caused Serbian nation to suffer a lot through history. Yeah, so my grandmother, Vera Dragica, who is the aristocratic person of the family, she said that Serbs have an elegance in their culture. That's what they were taught growing up. That, like these local Slavic people, Slovaks, and whatever other, they were kind of like simple, but Czechs were intellectuals, and Serbs were this sort of like very high culture Slavic people who did defeat the Austro-Hungarian Empire in World War I, leading to my grandparents growing up in a country called Czechoslovakia and not Austria-Hungary, as it had previously been for hundreds of years. So, lots of respect for Serbian people for that. Serbian people were getting into wars with major world powers, exactly what I was just talking to defend independence. I have so much respect for how much has been done to preserve Serbian as the Serbian people as a cohesive national identity. The Serbian language is beautiful and has lots of very interesting loanwords from other cultures and languages, but Serbianness works as a thing, works as a culture, and it's inclusive even for me, for people like me and this guy, Charles Cather, to even come here and be a part of the Serbian nation and be here and be accepted in the society. Oh yeah, I want to show you guys. I'm so proud. I've got a Serbian driver's license. Okay. Yeah, I do. Pretty cool, right? Me. It's Eric Moot, the Serbian driver. Okay. Austro-Hungarian, yeah, okay, yeah, 40 million people, population was 4 million. Yeah. Serbs got balls, man, as a nation. And there's a lot of bullshit in the world. The Anglo-American sort of cabal, whatever, Anglo-American forces that dominate the world, they're a powerful force, and Serbs kind of take the bet. They keep good relations with that, and keep good relations with Russia and China too. And it's a very clever sort of diplomatic game that I respect a lot. That the government takes that path rather than being too pro West and pro East. I mean, if you ask me, the North American system, the Western European system, it's also a sort of like it's not as free a society as you might think it is. Yeah, freedom of media. Well, now YouTube is like censoring people, and that's kind of weird. But yeah, the freedom, but that's not the government, right? It's a different type of social control. It's like corporate control over your life in North America. That's basically what I'm getting to. You have these politicians, they want to get elected for like 4 or 5 years, and there's lobby groups that come and dictate the policies through donations and through supporting so big business runs the West. And it's not like, in countries like China, where it's like the government together, the communist government with businesses. If you own a business, you are a part of China, the government, and you are a part of the Communist Party, and they act more cohesively. So in the West, the governments are pretty weak compared to that, but the corporations are very strong, and they're less accountable. They're almost not like, yeah, I don't know. This is a whole other topic to go into. It's outside of Serbia, but congrats to Serbia for participating in the world, but being its own independent country. I still don't know, should Serbia join the European Union? Might be nice, might never happen. I'm pretty happy with the country as is right now, in terms of like being an independent country where you can actually feel a breath of fresh air, that it's not like these Western countries, but there's a lot of influence from Western countries here. Again, hey, can you do an interview with Jordan Peterson? I don't know if I can, because how would I break through? First of all, we covered this already. How would I break through? First of all, get in touch with him. I already tried writing to his daughter, no reply. When I saw her pass by me on the streets of Belgrade, I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll write an email, no reply. But, the signal to noise ratio is very disadvantageous once you have as many followers and fans as Jordan Peterson or even his daughter. do on YouTube and stuff. You know, I get lots of emails, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of emails that people are writing me because, well, there's just so many of them. And I've only got 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, but if you see Jordan Peterson, tell him to come. Tell him to come talk to me. I guarantee that would be interesting. But I covered this already. Serbia is a rustic country so I think it attracts foreigners. Yes. I thought you were part Ukrainian. I am. Slovakians and Serbians are sort of tied together. Yes, they are. I feel a huge connection between whatever culture of Slovak culture I got from having family from Slovakia, having cousins there, visiting it, you know, when I'm being taken there by my dad. And, you know, so just to clarify, my dad's family is from Slovakia. My mother is half Canadian and half Ukrainian. So I've got Slavic roots from both sides, but the Slavic roots from my dad's family are actually German roots that are mixed with Slavic through the former Austro-Hungarian Empire, where my family spoke 3 different languages. So the Ukrainian side of my family is the one I'm least in touch with. Like my mother's father broke up with my mother's mother when she was like 3 years old. So my mother basically just knows how to say "Ya lublю te," I love you in Ukrainian, and that's all she knows of that side of her, half of her blood. And yeah, it's interesting. But the Slovak German culture, I'm super in touch with that. Those are the people who raised me. I don't have any male members of my family who are not. Like I grew up, I'm an only child of only children, so there's my dad and my grandfather as my male role models in my family, and they're both Slovak German people. And we are very German and also very Slavic in the same way. And then with the extra dose of Slavic blood in me, and then whatever British Isles, Scottish, Irish stuff that came from my mother's mother. And the Canadian people that lived there for 12 generations, apparently, in Canada. So a mix of Dutch and whatever. So that's me. I'm a mix of those: British Empire, Russian Empire, Austro-Hungarian Empire, but the influence of thinking and family tradition from the Russian Empire, there isn't any of that. They moved in 1914 to Canada. But still, I'm a quarter Ukrainian. Yep, I don't feel a great connection to Ukraine. I visited there last year and the year before, Kiev, Lviv. I feel a greater connection to Lviv because of the Austro-Hungarian influence than I do the actual. My family from Ukraine was from around Kiev, so I mostly agree with you. You need to work on the way I approach this if you want to explain it to an average person. Yes. See, I don't want to be the guy to explain things to the average person. That's the difference between me and Charles here. This guy Charles, he's making videos on this topic which are much more geared to the average person, and I commend him for it. I'm a fan of his channel. I like him. I think he's great. And I'm happy for him that he's happy with his Serbian citizenship. We'll get to that in a bit, because well, it's all pretty cool. I mean, yeah, but I want to make videos that explore complex ideas, because the reason I do this channel is to make my life more interesting, and it definitely does. The reason I do this channel is to meet interesting people, and I've met lots of great friends through this channel, like who just see what I'm into, what I'm talking about, the level of thinking that I'm putting out there, and they say, hey, do you want to meet for a coffee? Like one of them was Mario Milanovic. I've known him for a couple of years. I did an episode on Belgrade Beat. You know, he's a marketing guy, Serbian, grew up in Germany, and then moved to Canada and the United States. So we have a lot in common, and that's why I do this, to meet people like that and people who can understand my level of thinking. I'm not here for the average guy. I'm not here to explain things to the masses of people. I mean, this video here, Why I Love Serbs, 194,000 100,000 views was my crack at that, sort of. And it's a popular video, but whatever. I mean, I want to explore complex ideas, and I think I'm doing a good job at exposing the complexity of these ideas and being open to discussion about it. Where were we? Jordan Peterson, Nationalist Pigeon. Yeah, I think pigeons are, I think they want to separate Belgrade from Serbia and declare a pigeon republic. You might want to watch out for that pigeon nationalism, because they're building nests on every balcony. They're laying eggs. I mean, don't worry about the Albanians. Like, the pigeons are what you got to watch out for. The reason why you, Maria Juric, the reason why you love it here is because you feel the way of life, the freedom of thought and being that is preserved here. That's true. All of our ancestors fought through basically every generation to preserve that freedom. That's true. And my ancestors from the Austro-Hungarian Empire also fought for the same sort of thing. My ancestors from the Russian Empire also fought for the same sort of thing. And that's why I feel such a connection with Serbia. Whereas because people actually preserve that. My ancestors from the British Empire, let's not go there. They were brutal. They destroyed indigenous cultures, forced people to speak their language in a very brutal way, much dirtier. Well, I guess Russians did that too. But Austro-Hungarian Empire was a little bit more of a tolerant thing. At least if you ask the Western Ukrainians. I mean, if you ask the Serbs, it's kind of like, yeah, but Austrians, whatever. Yeah, we fought them. We didn't like them, blah, 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 blah. But the Croatians, they liked them. Blah, blah, blah. It's also complicated, but essentially the idea is true. So I like the freedom of thought and being that is preserved here. Absolutely true, because people speak their minds. They respect honesty. They respect people who are upfront, say what they mean, like I always have been, like my Slovak German family raised me to be, just to tell the fucking truth, express your ideas, and let people deal with it. And in Canada, I was not very popular as a person when I did that, because people there are afraid of that sort of behavior. They said I'm too intense, that I should walk around with a fucking fake smile on my face like people there do, and that my eyes were just too crazy. So I live in Serbia now, and it is because I feel the way of life, the freedom of thought, and the being that is preserved here. Exactly. Learn more about true Serbian and Slavic history, and much will become clear to you, even about your own roots and why you are so drawn to this place. I know a lot. Ja znam mnogo, jevate. What about this conversation sounds like I don't know a lot about history, but I will warn you that I am predominantly German and Germanic, and that I am a lot more, in terms of my thinking, I am a lot more like that. In terms of my heart, I feel Slavic. When I look at Slavic people, and when I want to, okay, if I want to work, if I want to, okay, have clients for my business, I want them to be Germanic, Americans, well, not Germanic stock of people, or people with German names, but the culture, like the American culture, really good for business. Canadian culture, slightly less good for business than Americans. British culture also slightly less good for business, but Germans good at business. Like I've been paid for a concert. I didn't play in Germany because the venue got shut down by the city, and the guys who ran that venue in Germany are like, we're gonna pay your band anyway. Would that happen in the Slavic culture? No way. I had a concert. I was supposed to play in the main square in Lviv, Ukraine, and the city canceled our concert for mysterious reasons right before we were supposed to play, a couple days before, after we had traveled there to play that concert. And we're there, I think it was because we're playing on the street and getting too much attention. We're playing on the street and getting crowds of 200 people, and then I don't know. So it's German for business, Slovak for pleasure. Try that mix and you will not be disappointed. That's like, to tell you honestly, from having explored my roots, I like German for business, German for thinking, German for working, Slovak for pleasure, Slovak for eating, Slovak for women. I wanted to say Slovak for fucking, but it sounded like it would be. Well, I guess I just did say it. Yeah. So I think likely what would happen if I do have children, they will be an extra half Slavic because I don't really like North American, British, or Germanic women that much. So there's a lot of Slavic history that's going to come if I have children, and I would definitely much prefer to raise them in a country like this than a country like Canada, but things are changing constantly. And what has become possible because of remote working is, yeah, the whole thing of working from anywhere. By the way, I am aware of the irony of recording a video about Serbian nationalism at Starbucks Coffee, and you guys are just gonna have to deal with it. I am an American, Canadian, whatever. I like my Starbucks coffee. Fuck you. Um, Hey, Eric, I would like some skills to make money online. What skills do you recommend for me to start practicing on? This is a good question, really good question. And I can help a lot with this question. So I replied, if you're a people person, IT support. And if you're not, then IT development. If tech is not your thing, then maybe digital marketing. Those are the ones that I see making cash in my world. I think it's self-explanatory. You want to learn stuff, learn jobs, learn complicated technical work that people will pay lots of money for, and they don't give a damn where the hell you are on the planet. They just give a damn about the results. So yeah, I'm the owner of a business called Support Adventure. We're an IT support. That's the first one. I can talk a lot about that. You might actually look on the Support Adventure YouTube channel where I do talk a lot about that, because that's actually how I pay for my life in Serbia, is tech support business, the giving people work that they can work from South Africa. You can be in Africa and work on your computer for an American company if you work with Support Adventure. We make it easy for you to do that. Nationalism is good. Chauvinism is not. Multiculturalism that is propagated by Soros and the globalists has been forced upon people, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is a whole other video I'd like to talk about. I'm going to do it on my other channel, the Eric Mood Ideas channel. It's not, there's different sides to this perspective, and this is a little bit more of a paranoid side of this perspective. Let's see. The only thing we don't want in Serbia is illegal immigration by hordes of young males from Middle East, people that are not refugees, period. All right. Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Illegal immigration, right, from people from countries that are even poorer than Serbia might not be the best thing. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I mean, Western Europe is using this as a buffer zone. Yeah. I mean, life didn't change as much as we thought it would after 2015 with the refugee crisis. Germany's still Germany. Let's not go there. I don't want to go there. Not right now. Maybe a whole other video when I've got someone else talking to me and I can actually have a discussion rather than reading comments. Do you have a resident visa? Yes, I do. Since the year 2016, I think I got the first one. I also have a Serbian driver's license. I showed you I'm super proud of my Serbian driver's license. Serbian inat is stronger than Serbian national. Okay, I don't know what inat is, but if you tell a Serb that nationalism is bad, you'll be even more nationalistic just to spite you. Let's just put this clearly, like, I'm not for or against Serbian nationalism. It's not bad, it's not good. There's healthy manifestations, there's unhealthy manifestations, and yeah, yeah. I also don't like Serb shaming. I don't like people being ashamed of this country. I think it's a beautiful country which has some social issues around the economy, business culture, and general work ethic and stuff like that. But it is getting better. So yeah, that's my opinion. And I'm here to help. Any Serbian entrepreneur, especially in the tech industry, who wants my help, advice, and stuff like that, I'm here for you guys. It would be beneficial to many if you could do videos for small business owners that are interested in relocated to Serbia, or how Serbian youth is well spoken in English, which is great for business. It is great for business. When you get, like Serbian people who speak English and you get them on the phone with the UK and US, and it's really good. Cost of starting up a business in Serbia, you can research that on your own. I don't actually, my business is global, it's based in the UK. The business I own is based in the UK. So because we have people from all over the world, basically. And yeah, Serbia is not the focus. I live here. I have my own ethnic setup here so that I can pay myself legally and pay taxes here legally, live here legally. And yeah, all that. I made videos on how I set that up. But all the other stuff, I mean, like, just research it. I don't recommend starting a business in Serbia that's based on taking money from people in Serbia, unless you're gonna do it like a pekara bakery, 50 dinars at a time for an immediate need, or unless something like that. Those businesses, they work. People come from the smaller cities in Serbia, they set up these businesses and they thrive. But a lot of businesses are really hard to run because it's just, this country hasn't built the amount of wealth that leads to a ecosystem of healthy businesses. So if you can make a business that is involved in taking money from the outside of, US is the best one right now. I started my business in the UK and started making money from them, and that was good. But then in the last 2 years, since I really started expanding the American clients, they are gung-ho, they like to pay, they have money, they pay rates that are decent because, like, it's so expensive in the US to hire labor. I was watching Charles Cather's video. He helps Serbian students go to the United States because nobody in the United States wants to take jobs for $15 an hour, $15 or $20 an hour, and he gets the students those jobs. And that's Charles's job. Interesting, yeah, really interesting, because my thing is different, because we don't have to send people to America to steal American jobs. With my company, we can have people in Africa working, stealing American jobs. And that means that I do go to the United States. I went twice last year, once to New York and Miami. That was one trip, and then to California in November. I met my clients, great people, love it, America, great. Little too much driving. I don't like the obesity crisis there, fat people, shitty food, all that stuff, and too much driving. That's my opinion. North America's, my opinion on USA is different than Canada, where I grew up. But I'm happy that I had this cultural vision that I could set it up so I don't have to go to those countries to get them to send money and to get jobs from those countries and to get the wealth from those countries and put it here. Yeah, so Giorgio, hello. It must burn a little that Charles Cather has more than 50,000 subscribers. Nah, dude, like, if you know what it's like to be me in Belgrade and walk down the streets and talk to people, I'm famous enough, it's fine. It's really fine. Like, for example, on Friday, I did my thing where I was standing on the street handing out Corona beer. You'll see the video in a few days. And there's lots of people who come and thank me for my work, thank me for my message about Belgrade. And yeah, there's a dude, Charles, who's been doing it for longer than me, has a much more easy to digest message about Serbia and why he loves it as an American living here half the year. Well, yeah, my message of how being a Slavic, German, Ukrainian, Canadian, eccentric artist, entrepreneur, businessman, and how I live in Serbia, pretty much. Well, now I go away for the winters, but I was living full time for a while, and it's a lot harder to digest. So I love Charles's channel. He's great. Actually, we'll get there in a second. So wait a second. Yes, Starbucks, America, consistent ass kicking caffeine coffee. All right, so Charles, in his post about Serbian citizenship, he got Serbian citizenship. I saw in one of the videos that was handed out from the highest levels of government. So I don't know if they want to give it to me. But negative comments affiliated with the Serbian citizenship. I'm extremely proud to hold the red passport, blah, 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 blah. But then there's people with a Serbian nationalist pride who resent an American being given the citizenship of their country. And he didn't want it to benefit his current standing in life. He wanted it because he loves the country and enjoys. I empathize with this. I also love Serbia, and I also really feel that connection that he feels, albeit since I'm already mixed ethnically, from the ethnic neighborhood of this part of the world, or the part of the world that starts across the river, across from Kalemegdan. I guess I feel it in a different way than the American guy who just came and discovered people are super friendly and awesome. And yeah, so, but this is the negative nationalism. The fact that you would shit on an American guy who comes and loves your country. I don't speak, yeah, so Charles says he doesn't speak language fluently at this moment, but he promises that he's in the process of changing that. He'll make us proud. Ajde, brate, kad si naučio, mi možemo da radimo neki intervju na srpskom jeziku. To će biti zabavno. I vi vidite da ja sam naučio jezik očigledno jako dobro, ali nije baš sjajno. Uopšte pričam na engleskom jeziku, ali da. So Charles, yeah, learn Serbian, man. Do it. Thing I'd recommend to you if you're watching this is English TV. TV in English with Serbian subtitles gets a lot of vocabulary, and yeah, then you need to just get it in your head that you are Serbian. Like, I decided that with my cultural identity, I'm going to be fully Serb compatible. So the way that I speak Serbian is like Serbian people do it. You hear an accent that I am a foreigner who has learned it as a second language, but I think that when I speak the language, there's a certain respect for the local way that Belgradians use the language in the way that I use their language, and I'm lucky enough to have been able to learn that. And so basically, I have one phrase that I say that completely emphasizes this integration and the fact that I also choose to speak English most of the time. And that's what I say when people ask me if we're out or something and they ask, hey, you speak Serbian? And I go, da, ali samo pričam srpski kad ti majku jebam. So you know that I understand your mentality, your language, your humor, all that stuff. So it's nice. So yeah, American people, yeah, that's the people. It's not, you're not a traitor to your country for loving internationalism, for going to find a place where you fit. I feel the same about Serbia. It's a place where I found my heart, my soul. It became a part of me. I became a part of it, and yeah, right, really good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Charles. Like, I mean, it's kind of a shame that he's away for half the year. I think he lives here from October until April, and I traveled those times. Like I was in South Africa, Colombia, Thailand, California, Canada, uh, and other places in that time. So I remember when I was living half in Serbia, like 3 months in Serbia, 3 months in Canada. It was really frustrating. Those were the years 2008 until 2011. I was 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months in Serbia, 3 months in Canada. So it was usually like January, February, March in Serbia, then April, May, June in Canada, then July, August in Serbia, something like that. That I was doing. The dates were always changing, of course, and I was mixed in other countries in Europe. But my life got a lot less confusing once I decided on just living in Belgrade. That this would be my base. Now, since I started this international business, the bubble got a little bigger. Now I can go to South Africa. Now I can go to spend time in Thailand, like I recently did 2.5 months. So, yeah. Anyways, am I neo-colonialist because of my business model? Man, you don't understand like the whole journey that I've been on as an entrepreneur. So, running a business that runs 24 hours a day with people in like 16 different countries is quite the job. It's quite the lunacy. And I've developed a system to provide consistent and stable results so that companies can have good, talented people um, working for them, and people in countries around the world like Vietnam, Thailand, South Africa, Colombia, and indeed Serbia can have a stable income. And based on your beliefs, you may believe that that is some sort of exploitation, but I would disagree, actually, because well, people have a choice. They can do what I did initially, which is just get your own job, or you can go with a company with me, which has many benefits. We have a lovely internal culture, an HR team that is really there for you and helping you get um, up to speed with the work, helping you, just manage your life with remote working. We've got managers, contract managers who will make sure that the clients that we're assigning you to are giving you a really fair environment to work in, and we're tweaking that, advising them how to make remote working work in their company, internal culture, um, clear expectations, and all that stuff. And we're making sure that, like, we just provide a turnkey way, if we accept you and find you something, a turnkey way to get the life of a quote unquote digital nomad or a work from home professional, get it going. And do I deserve to be rich off of that? Yes, I do. I'm not going to tell you how rich I am right now. It's not overwhelming. I pay myself a pretty modest salary, I think, and it's really good for here. And the rest of the money just stays and funds the business, and probably also some artistic ventures and cultural things that I will be doing. So yeah, I wrote back to him also. Um, Charles and his success doesn't burn because I feel like I have an audience that truly values my unique work. On the street for a few hours yesterday, I met several of them. Yeah, like on Friday, it's like guy from Russia coming and saying, "Oh, thank you, you helped me move here from Russia." When I realized that I could come here and speak English, Serbian's really hard, even as a Russian, and I knew that from your videos that I could come here and have a normal life just by speaking English. Cool, man. And then this guy from the States, he's like got a Serbian wife. He was German roots, so we were speaking partially in German. You know, like I'm famous enough. I'm not jealous of Charles. If I wanted to have more subscribers, I'd make even more videos like this. Why I love Serbs, amazing people in Belgrade, and how I, you know, came here and found my home. But you know, this is actually a side thing to my life, side of the business that I am earning my livelihood. My cultural vision to have people live in vibrant places that inspire them, like Thailand, Serbia, Colombia, whatever it is, South Africa, whatever it is, to be able to live and work online and have freedom, location independence. That's what I pour out most of my energy in. So I don't often spend as much time on Belgrade Beat as I would if it was the main thing in my life. It's a weekend thing. It's you know, because most of the week I'm actually working really hard to revolutionize or evolutionize. Why isn't that a word? To evolve the way that staffing in the IT industry works and how working as an expat works. I save people from teaching English. And so if I wanted, yeah, it's not a day job. It's not something you can switch off of. So Belgrade Beat is a cultural project like one of the ones, yeah, that I describe. It's a cultural initiative to make my life more interesting. So that guy is a joke, and he's talking about that guy who we're not going to talk about. Yeah. Um, let's see if there's anything else here. Am I married to a Serbian lady or have a girlfriend in Belgrade? No, I'm single. I'm single. So, ladies, if you want, you can add me on Facebook. Some have. I've dated them. Some of them were crazy. Some of them were cute. Some of them were cute and crazy, which is dangerous. Whatever. Just, yeah, still single. I just got through this period of the first 4 years of running this business, and I've got a lot more stability now and a lot less stress. So, yeah, I'm single and ready to mingle. Right. So let's see if there's anything else. As a Yugoslavian, Bosnian, I love my Serbian brothers, but I don't like nationalists in general. From my experience, there seem to be a lot of Serbian nationalists. Well, it's not that one person, this is what I wrote back. It's not that one person is nationalist or not nationalist. It's that everybody has a nationalist consciousness, and that's what you're encountering. Every nationalist is a human being at their core, and their national identity is just a defense mechanism to deal with the world. My point with this is if you were, and this is a complex idea, your cultural identity is a strategy for getting what you want from other people. So being in a nation, being in a country, fitting into the system, being Serbian, being registered, having a Serbian driver's license, all that stuff is all stuff that is on top of you as a human being. And you as a human being are unique in so many different ways. And you take away your uniqueness by being nationalist, being conformist, conforming to the society, conforming to the idea of what is Serbia. Yeah. So that's why I go to great length to be a citizen of the world as a whole. I go to great lengths to embrace my German roots and my Slavic roots and my North American roots and my British Empire roots as well. I embrace all of that to make a unique, crazy Eric guy who somehow decided that this place, Belgrade, is the place he wants to make his base. I travel all around the world, I see everything. And this is one of the sweet spots on the world for free thinking, eccentric, artistic, fun loving people like me. And that's why I live here. Am I proud of having found this place? Yes. Am I proud of the city of Belgrade? Yes. And let's just say it's a really great thing that I found this thing, and I don't know what my life would look like if I stayed in Canada. It'd probably be much less of a satisfied human being. And so I love this country. I love all of that. And it's a purely positive thing. Anything related to your national or ethnic identity that makes you feel negativity towards other people, you might want to check that. You might want to not feel that way. You might want to not feel negative towards people of other ethnicities, countries, races, socio-economical conditions. You might want to check that stuff, think it through, and get to a place where you can accept the whole world and use the positivity, the good things in your life to bring more good things to other people's lives, contribute to society, contribute to other people's lives, and all that stuff. And this video has been my sort of way of contributing as well to the thought of what is Serbia, what is this nation, why I live here, kako ja Srbiju volim, kako ja pripadam ovde, nekako. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, folks. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you liked the format of this video, this longer format where you get to explore these ideas in depth. Let me know. Thanks, guys.